much. I'll talk about the difference between self-righteousness for heaven and Christ's righteousness for heaven. And I want you to listen to me now. The first one, the difference between self-righteousness to heaven and Christ's righteousness to heaven is this. One, self-righteousness to heaven is a righteousness that you depend on your own efforts, depend on your own struggle, depend on your own holiness, depend on your own purity for heaven. Just like the man that came before God and he thought that in his heart that, oh, I've paid my tithe, I fasted days, and he compared himself to the other person. And this person was someone that came before God and was broken in his heart. And said that, oh Lord, I know that I'm a sinner, and hit his chest and said that, oh Lord, forgive me. That is it. Now, the person that said, I fasted, I have paid all my tithes, and not like this publican here, that person is someone that depends on this self, and this is what they call self-righteousness for heaven. Such righteousness will never take you to heaven. And the second one is what? Christ's righteousness to heaven. Christ's righteousness to heaven is this. One, it is someone that believes in his heart that yes, I'm a sinner, is broken in his heart that yes, he's a sinner, and he can come before God and say that, oh Lord, have mercy upon my sin. I depend on the blood of Christ. I depend on the finished work of Christ. I depend on all what Christ provided for my sin. Wash me and clean me. Such person is someone that depend on the righteousness that comes from the blood of Christ, on the righteousness that comes from the quality of Christ for heaven. This is it. Now, the difference between self-righteousness to heaven and Christ's righteousness to heaven is that one, self-righteousness to heaven depend on your own effort, depend on your own struggles, you depend on your own purity, your own holiness, and at the end of it, you can't make it to heaven. This one can never give you salvation. This one can never give you door to an eternal life. But Christ's righteousness to heaven is such that it is the one that take you to heaven. Because at the end of the story, the publican is the one that was broken in heart and said that, forgive me my sins, and it depends on the righteousness that comes from Christ. This was the one that Christ said at the end of it, he was the one that went home forgiven. It was the one that went home pardoned. But the person that came before Christ and was expressing himself as that, I fasted, I paid my tithe, I give alms, that one, Christ did not accept such righteousness. Likewise, this is what I want to understand. I want you to look at the two. It's either you're depending on your own self-righteousness to heaven, or you're depending on the righteousness that comes from Christ to heaven. But the most important is that you have to depend on the righteousness that comes from Christ. That is the only one that can qualify us to heaven. Thank you.